welcome back to The Mandatory. If you've been rocking with the show, thank you so much. If you haven't already hit that like and subscribe button, please do. We do appreciate you. Of course, that helps the channel grow. And remember to follow us on our social media platforms. We're at The Mandatory TKO. Make sure to follow us on there. We put all of our content on there. And we're also available on the audio side. So remember, if you're listening to this, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your audio from, make sure to leave a rate and review because that always helps the channel grow as well. And give us a 5-star because come on, we're 5 stars right here. But a lot to talk about, Bryan. And we had this man on our show before, Arnold Barboza Jr. And he just recently signed with Golden Boy. He was a free agent and he will be making his debut on December 2nd. What are your thoughts on this?
And he's going to do it in Texas on the undercard of Ryan Garcia versus Oscar Duarte. So that's going to be a card that has a lot of eyeballs on it. Ryan Garcia's return after losing to Gervonta Davis against a real challenge. Like, this is not a gimme fight for Ryan Garcia against Oscar Duarte. We'll see how he looks. New trainer situation there, too. So that's going to be exciting. But Arnold Barboza has jumped. So he was at Top Rank for people who may have forgotten, whatever the case may be. We had him on the show. He was still at Top Rank. This was fresh off of his win against Jose Pedraza earlier this year, where I came away very impressed. I thought it was probably the best win of his career. Definitely, I think, against the best guy that he's fought so far. Pedraza has been sort of relegated to gatekeeper status to some degree, but is a former champion, multiple-time champion. And Arnold Barboza now 28-0 with 10 knockouts. I am fascinated by this. We don't know who he's fighting yet. That hasn't been announced, it seems, but Golden Boy did say that he's going to fight December 2nd on that card, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do.
Yeah, and going back to that Jose Pedraza fight, listen, I know Jose Pedraza has recently lost in a lot of his bouts, but let's just keep it real here. It's tough to make a guy like Jose Pedraza look like that. And that's exactly what Arnold Barboza did. I don't think Top Rank really pushed him well enough. You look at Arnold Barboza Jr., and he's undefeated, right? He's one of those guys at 140 where you're like, do you put him at number 6? Does he get into the top 5? Because he is undefeated. And I do think that win over Jose Pedraza is a good one. But really, we don't know who he's going to fight on December 2nd. Bryan and I were trying to figure this out. And we're like, but this is in 3 weeks. And Bryan's like, this happens sometimes. Like, relax. But I think this is setting it up for him to fight Ryan Garcia possibly at 140. That's a blockbuster fight. You're talking about 2 guys from the LA area fighting under, technically that Golden Boy banner, right? Because we know how Ryan Garcia wanted to get up and out of there. There was that whole debacle with Oscar not showing up, of course, for the post-fight interviews with the whole Gervonta Tank Davis thing. We know what's been going on there, but I think this is a great move for a guy like Arnold Barboza Jr. And we could sneakily get really, really good fights because Regis Prograis also is signed to this as well, right? He has a 3-fight deal. Was it a
with
3-fight deal?
Matchroom, but both fight on the zone. So and remember, we asked Arnold Barboza who does he want to fight the most. He said Regis Prograis. He wants a WBC. He was, sort of in line to fight for that title at one point, and that fight obviously didn't materialize. And now they're both not on the same promotions, but on the same
It's
network.
on the zone.
So it can be made as the point, but Regis Prograis has to beat Devin Haney first. And I saw something that said the WBC wants Sandor Martin to be next in line for the winner of that fight. So there's a lot going on at 140, and then you have Subriel Matias fighting soon
just
well.
waiting in the back. Like, I'm gonna knock out anybody. Just waiting here. Give me, because he's the boogeyman of the division. I don't think anyone really wants to fight him, but I do think if he ends up fighting one of these dudes, I think Subriel Matias could beat any of them.
And he has a tough fight coming up on the Demetrius Andrade, David Benavidez card against Ergashev. So I won't. He's a big favorite, 4-1 favorite, and we'll talk about that. But I don't want to overlook that as well.
Yeah. Another thing that I do want to mention is I think 140 is wide open, because this is the wild thing about it. So I still have some questions about Ryan Garcia. If Ryan Garcia and Arnold Barboza Jr. were going to fight, I would probably place my money on Arnold just because I like his fight style a little bit more. And the way that he made Jose Pedraza look, like if you think about it, that's a better win than what Ryan Garcia has on his resume. Plus his chin is questionable, right? And then you take a look at a guy like Teofimo Lopez. This is also a guy that Barboza wanted to fight,
Mm.
right? But he could easily beat anyone at 140. Regis Prograis, I feel like, could beat anyone at 140. He's taking on Devin Haney, who could possibly be the next king at 140. So there's just, I think 140 is wide open, Bryan. And I think this is the most exciting division in boxing.
When Regis Prograis said, because we asked him when he was on the show, and I asked him, like, have you considered, you know, being a welterweight at any point? Because I feel like he's strong enough to do it, big enough to do it. And he said, like, 140 is honestly more popping right now. And looking at the recent movement where Devin Haney is now going to fight Regis Prograis on the zone, and you have Arnold Barboza jumping from top rank, and he's going to be with Golden Boy and Teofimo Lopez. We don't know what his future is going to hold. We don't know what Subriel Matias' future is going to hold. And oh, by the way, even though he shouldn't be a champion, Rolly Romero has a title.
Go get that title. And it was a title he doesn't deserve to still have. I just want to say that. No shade, but
Honestly,
I mean,
Ismael
let's keep it a
Barroso was
buck.
beating him. A lot of people thought, and way too early of a stoppage. And I think Arnold Barboza would beat him. I think Ryan Garcia would beat Rolly. I think a lot of
Yes.
people would.
That's a blockbuster fight, by the way. I
No
think people would pay
disrespect.
to see that.
No disrespect, honestly, no disrespect. But based off that performance, like, I just don't. But listen, this is a deep weight class. It's an interesting weight class. I hope it's a weight class that casual fight fans sort of start really paying attention to, because there's a lot of fun fights that are about to get made and are being
Yes.
made right now. So I think 2024 could be massive for the 140 class.
Yeah, drop some comments below. Let us know what you think about Arnold Barboza Jr. signing with Golden Boy. Do you think this is a good move for him? And do you think that we get those blockbuster fights next that we want to see at 140? We got one coming up. By the way, we are going to be breaking that down, having a full week preview and a post-fight show for Devin Haney, Regis Prograis. I want to throw that in there. Remember, if you like the content, hit that like and subscribe button. It helps the channel grow. And talking about